As a kid who specifically dealt with stuff like this, and I didn't think about it at the time, but I want to have these types of conversations. I thought about having this conversation with my daughter actually, like with her mother, having her in, trying to get her in therapy, which I understand some of that, but let me finish here. She's already been prescribed something for her diagnosis, not with depression or anything, but for ADHD. Okay, so what is it? Is she sitting down and she's depressed too much? Or is she too hyperactive and too much to deal with? I know that I know myself, and I'm not afraid to take credit for the things I did. And in that same aspect, because I know what it feels like, I will protect that person's truth to the extent I'm not going to say what they did or didn't do. But there's contradictions. Uh, but when I had my daughter, even if I had been under the influence at that time, I didn't really experience a point. I mean, shit, she's a kid. So, of course, every once in a while you're like, okay, damn, but never to the point where I thought it was so overwhelming. And that was while under the influence. So, if my co-parent isn't doing anything else, if she's not drinking anymore, she's not doing things, she ain't got the flu, she sure is sick of my shit. No, I'm just playing. But if she's not, then I don't see where her hyperactivity is so much that she needs medicine. So this was leading me into the conversation I wanted to have with my daughter, and it led me to this train of thought that took me down through this landscape here. I wish I would have known. I know that we're told, appreciate it when we're young, blah blah blah, this and that. But the things that were happening inside those doctor's appointments, or the many therapists that I had to go through, the counselors that I was put into, and it was face to face. Sure, I had that. I knew what was going on, obviously, because we're having that conversation. But there was times where, I think we can all either picture this kid or we know this kid as in we were there. Like, you're sitting on the table after you just got some questions asked of you, and then your parent and the doctor are sitting there next to you having full-on conversations about the dosage and what they think they have and what's wrong with them and what they can give them, put in their system to make them chemically correct or something. And we don't even pay attention to it, you know what I mean? Because we're kids. We're thinking that our parent has the best interest. But it's funny. As a parent, we do want the best things for our kid. But in situations like these, is it, specifically driven by these motives? Or is it that you are too overwhelmed yourself to... It's not an insult, but are you just too distracted? Are you too overwhelmed with trying to maintain other things? Even financial or things that don't have to be drug-induced. I'm not insulting anyone, I promise. But these kids are just sitting there, kicking their feet, looking around at the walls, Like, that's a cool colored, picture there. And we're thinking that we're going to get the best treatment possible. And meanwhile, like, for an example, my case, I was being told the things that was wrong with me. They gave me the dosage. And then there was a point where the conversation was, how is he doing now in school with the higher dosage? And she said, good. And he's like, okay, well, I think we're going to want just a little tiny more just to make it okay, or something like that. And I didn't track that. I didn't think about how important that was. How fucked up is that? Parents want peace sometimes, right? That's what it is. Parents just want peace from all the commotion and all of the rush of just trying to be an adult and maintain all that crazy shit. And you wish you could be innocent like your kids. And you tell them things like that. You don't know how good you got it, kid. And little do you know that you're planting and perpetuating the same thing that your parents once said to you. And I don't know if we've noticed, but we're not really in a better mind state. If it doesn't matter, if there's a small crack in the beginning and you keep on piling generation on top of it, generation on top of it, the leak is going to get worse. It's going to add up, okay? Eventually, it's going to add up. It definitely doesn't fix the things. So, what is up with that? We have trust in our parents, but our parents are just trying to get it figured out. Just like the kids, And we know as parents what that's like. So, I mean, really, it's always, it's always gonna be the parents. You know, it's funny because it's just fucking nesting doll. And then you're gonna blame that on your parents, which is fair in some cases. But it's we have a point when we're adults. Uh, Unfortunately, we didn't have technologies or even people like myself or others that are bold enough to stand up and say things like these. But I think it's wild that kids are so dismissed because yeah, we respect their purity, we respect their innocence, we wish we had it, we wish we had their energy, their naivety that we call it. When we could do this, and now you're sorry, and it ain't that easy. Maybe it is. Why do we complicate things so much? So, who says that parent has, at some point, a kid should have the right to say, a kid should be told this. My grandpa did tell me about it in school. Like, he never promoted the idea of a walkout, but he did have a conversation with me about a walkout. I'd never heard of that before, didn't know, I guess it was a thing that happened in his childhood. And he said he doesn't promote it. But if you believe in something, you follow that through. And if it's for a good reason, you will not be punished. That was my authority figure. That was my God. That was the man that I looked up to. That was the one that protected me, the one that guided me, the one that brought me the things I needed. And those were the things he told me. He told me about teachers when I was too young to understand. You know what's right and wrong. So you are supposed to listen to a teacher, an authority figure, blah, blah, blah. But there's a point where you know in your heart, because you feel it, your spirit talks to you. And at a young age, it's very important for kids to learn this. And it should be more fair for them to be able to say, no, this is wrong. And that child be taken seriously. Not the 3 adult figures that are trying to gang up on a child. At that point, I don't think I need an extra judge on their side for me to decide who's being a little childish in the end, right? We got big ass fucking rules, big old brains, but little pride. And kids' hearts are pure. So, how is it fair to say, especially in the situation of the therapy and the prescripted, that kid sitting there kicking his feet around or her feet around, looking at everything like, oh, this is a cool doctor's room. I wonder when we'll be done here, you know? I wonder if things are going to get better after this. Something doesn't feel right? No. What's to say that that kid doesn't have it right? You can't tell me that their parents got it figured out because their parents are sitting there talking to some stranger who's giving them legal, over-the-counter drugs suggesting that will help. Little do they know, or maybe they do, they're already probably talking to a fucking addict. Do you see the perpetuation? Do you see the cycle repeating again? That's insane, dude. My daughter loves so much and loves so hard. I've seen and had these conversations that matched the same feelings and emotions that I had to go through situations that did not compare to what she went through. I mean, so much more extreme in the adult realm is what I'm saying. But the depth of what this girl has said in times and situations where people she knew hurt her or she knew was in the wrong, but she still loved them so much that it hurt her to even think about addressing it. If she's hyper, she's excited. She's full of joy and love. Do you know what's in some of these chemicals? And like 33, the Butrin that I was given as a fucking kid. These things in its warnings, it talks about addiction and these terrible things and body problems. Why would you give that to a fucking kid? Why would you do it in the first place? Maybe you're so fucked up that you need that medicine to think that your child can't be fucking controlled without prescription medicine. I'm just saying, I don't know what's best, and I'm not saying what's right, but I do know what is questionable. And the fact that those questions get red flagged tell me that the people in the seat of power are exactly what I thought. Think for yourself, guys. Start to use your own discernment. Do not follow me. But don't follow anybody else. There was just a news report about a mother who stabbed her 7-year-old son or something. You don't know who you're trusting. That shepherd will lead you right into the fucking sheep shed. Be blessed, be kind, stay wise, stay you.